Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Creative Contact. I'm your host, Orion, the man who is obsessed with making great music and teaching you how to make your own. And this is another episode of Creative Contact. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you tune in on audio, whether you turn it on video. I appreciate you being here. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. We're going to spend these next 20, 30, 40 minutes together. I'm not sure how long this episode is going to be, but we got a lot to talk about. But whoa, tell the wind to chill out. Actually, before we do, I'm going to tell the wind to take a chill pill because it's crazy out here. Cool. Okay, so where were we? Also, y'all, before we get into it, am I looking tan or what? Your boy's straight out here rocking around in the sunshine. That's the untan part. That's the tan part. Definitely different. If you're tuning on audio, you can't see, but I am looking quite bronzed. And it's because I've been in the sun a lot lately. I recently moved to Florianopolis in Brazil, which sounds just like a cool place. But I wanted to talk to you about a lot that you've seen the title for the episode already, so you know what this is about. But there's been a lot of my mind, there's been a lot of my heart, and a lot of my spirit that I've been working through. But we're going to take them one piece at a time. And the first piece is, we're going to take this in chronological order. And the first piece is, I want to talk to y'all about love, which I talked about a little bit last time, very typical Kia fashion, romance. You know, it's a big part of my life and something that I'm very inspired by. So I think about it a lot too. And I really started to feel something for somebody right before I left Medellin. And then if you're watching this, you know who you are. Pretend you didn't see this. So this person, we hadn't had a ton of time to hang out. We only hung out a couple times, but we ended up hanging out the night before I left Medellin to come here to Florianopolis. And beforehand, I talked about this on another pod before when I'd come up with my sex equation, my sex love equation, which I told you guys about. But every time I see this person, I feel like there's just a spark there. There's a kind of a special little something. And I think once you've stumbled upon enough little special somethings, you can recognize when you have them. And it doesn't happen all the time. It actually doesn't happen that often, which is why I get, I think, so gung-ho and excited when I do feel it. But it's a tangible difference between that and things that are just, I think, sometimes supposed to be flings or hookups or those in-betweens. There's like once in a blue you meet those people, and just because the chemicals line up right, there's something that just works. And it's not unfortunate because I feel really blessed to have had the experience, but my last night, I ended up, this person, I wanted to tell her how I felt before I left. And I just wanted to say, hey, this is where I'm at. It's 2022. I'm working on being more direct and let her know, hey, listen, I think that this is really cool. And just like let her know that I just kind of let her know where I'm at. And so we had a great conversation. It was just a fantastic night. It was one of those nights where it's like everything linked up. We had a blast. Unfortunately, I leave the next day. And so we're going to table that for a second. So I end up flying to Bogota and then Sao Paulo, and then Sao Paulo to Florianopolis. When I'm about to fly into Florianopolis, so it's an overnight flight. It's crazy. I'm going to spare you all the details on that, but it was just an adventure. You know how that goes. On the flight, I'm waiting to this whole day afterwards, I feel like in a way I'm like maybe making a mistake. It's like, I feel like those maybe like little like breakup vibes. It's like weird because it's somebody, we don't know each other that well, but it's just, I was like, am I making a mistake? Am I leaving? Do I really need to leave? Whatever. So, but anyways, I'm waiting for the flight to go from Sao Paulo to Florianopolis, and I'm eating these small, like, cheesy bread balls that are called pão de queijo. And I was recommended to a friend. They're like, Kia, I asked a friend, a Brazilian friend, I was like, what should I eat? I'm in the airport, like, and like, pão de queijo. So I was eating these like little bread cheesy balls, and I see a girl who's about to board the flight, and she's kind of like listening to music, and she has on like a big Osprey 40-liter backpack, and I'm like, And then she also has another backpack over her front, like as if you're like carrying like a baby. You know how ladies carry, or dads, carry like the little baby pouch. The same way I wear a backpack on my back on the front. I saw her with a backpack on the front too. I was like, And then I saw that she had on some sort of groovy hippie sneakers of some sort, or like sandals. And I was like, this looks like a digital nomad uniform to me. So I went up and I said, hey, você fala inglês? I said, do you speak English? In my terrible Portuguese. And she's like, yeah. And she's actually French. And I was like, knew it. And so we ended up sitting next to each other on the flight just for a weird turn of events. I was able to sit next to her. We chopped it up. We had a blast. And it was cool to kind of land in this city when I didn't really know many people or anyone, to be honest, and already have kind of made a friend. And so that I took as a good sign. Her and I also met another couple on the flight that I thought was a good sign. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm kind of getting some good vibes already. Touchdown in Florianopolis and head to my Airbnb. It's this swanky guy's condo. I was just staying in his room because I knew I was going to be like bopping around looking at the city and whatever. So I spend the next few days bopping around, kind of seeing the city. And we're taking this in bits and pieces. But that first or second night, when I'm here, the guy's condo has a pool and a sauna. And so I go to the pool. I'm like swimming laps at night. Boom. There's something about swimming laps at night that just feels right. It just feels introspective. You just feel like when you're in an outdoor pool and it's nighttime. I remember I felt this way in Bali too. You feel like, I don't know, sometimes the weight of the nomad life just kind of really sets on you, and you feel, I don't know, something about it just feels kind of special. And so I go to the sauna. And I do the sunflower shit where I'm like, she loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. I was like, not really. But like, kind of, I was like, do I tell her how I really feel? Do I like throw it? Like, because you know how it is. When you're starting to feel for somebody and it's at the beginning, nobody wants to kind of go out on the ledge and be like, hey, I'm the first one. Because it's weird and maybe I'm being crazy. Is there something here? So I'm like, dude, just tell her how you feel. So it's my second night in Florianopolis. I've had a good day exploring out, going to the beach, kind of seeing what the city's about, come back, swim, do sauna. I'm like, I'm going to tell her. And I end up recording her this like, it's a video. It's minutes long. It's like more than 5 minutes. I think it's 8 or 9 minutes. It's like a video. Like it's a small production. And I just totally lay it all out there. And I'm like, hey, person, this is how I feel. I say, I think there's something, this could be something cool. I feel a spark here. I don't know if it is or not. This is no expectations, no obligations, but I just want to spend more time with you because I'd be curious to see where this goes. Like, I feel like this might have some legs. It'd be cool to explore this a little more. Send her the video. Feel good about it. But I just totally shoot my shot. Like, as much as I can, like, lay it out there on the line and kind of hedge it with, like, the no expectations thing, and, like, that I know this is crazy. Like, we just are getting to know each other, but like I want to see, like, at least see where this maybe goes. And she kind of hits me with like she's like I'm focused on myself, like it's not you, it's me. She's like, Kia, yeah, that sounds great, but like I'm really focused on myself right now. I was like, oh, okay, I got it. But in the video, I was pretty much like, listen, I'm just here because I'm trying to learn Portuguese. Brazil seems cool, but I'd be down to like go anywhere. Is there something? I'm like, let's like, I'm be down to seriously like chalk. I'm like, if let's take a shot, like whatever it takes, I'll be down. I'm just kind of jumping out the window on this, and I'm like, whatever. But I think at this point in my life, I'm really just ready to just kind of go for stuff, like which we're gonna talk about in a little bit. But she doesn't hit me with like a super. She's like, yeah, I'd love to see you again, but like, I'm living my life, dude. So cool. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. I can't even falter for it. But it also, there's something to it where I realized I was like, maybe that was like a little too crazy of me, but I'm just at that point where I'm ready to kind of jump in, all like just go for stuff. But I also realized, and we're going to get to Florianopolis and that stuff in a second. I actually have a friend, shout out Lena. We were having a conversation about this, and she dropped some gems on me. And she was like, Kia, I think until you fully commit to yourself in your music dream and like go for it, you'll never be able to fully commit to a woman because you'll always be like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And she's like, I feel like that's like always what you've done. And why none of your relationships have been like super, super duper long relationships, because I'm always in the back of my mind thinking about this dream. Ever since this dream has grabbed me when I was 16, 17, like it has not let me go. And I think there are some deeper things in here, maybe around other things I've talked about on the podcast before. I won't have to get into all of them right now, but I've never been able to shake it. It's like really this feeling of like really wanting to do this thing for real. And to me, it's like the best job in the world, but because it's like the best job in the world, there's a reason everybody's trying to do it, which is why it's so few people end up making it happen. But when she hit me with that, I realized, even with this other girl, who I'm kind of feeling little things for, little thing, a little feeling a little song for, is realizing that it's like maybe subconsciously it's because she's like unavailable, or because there's like some pieces of it like not forever, that like it is appealing or something. Like I'm not sure. I can't put my finger on it exactly. I'm still working through this, but like I think there's a real heavy reality that I'm coming to terms with, that like until I see this thing through, at least to a point, it doesn't have to be a forever thing. It doesn't have to be like I'm living the dream, but at least till I feel like I've really given it a shot. It's always kind of in the back of my mind when I'm thinking about relationships, long-term relationships, which is why I often don't commit to the super long-term relationships. And that really helped me feel better about the whole thing. To be like, even if she was like, yeah, Kia, let's go for it, that I still don't even know if I would be ready for her when it is time for that real something. And so it's been a week, to say the least. I feel like I like fell in love and then fell out of love and through a breakup, but we've been chatting and it's been great. Just getting to know her a little bit better and talking about the idea of maybe down the line in a couple months, like going somewhere and like having a little bit of an adventure. But to me, I really think it's important to not just fall for the idea of someone, but you have to learn like what people are like in real life, especially when it's hard. Like I want to learn I want to fight with you and see how you fight. Like that's not something really sexy on a first date, but I want to be like, I want to learn how you fight. Like, do you make it personal? Are you able to like roll with the punches? Are you flexible? How easy are you? Like how easygoing are you? Are you able to just kind of like have perspective and laugh things off? Or do you take things very personally and then like freeze me out for 2 hours? Like that to me is everything. Like I learned so much about you, how you fight. And that's for me always something where I'm like, I just want to hang. I just need to spend more time with a woman to like figure out, or partners in general, to figure out what that kind of a dynamic is like when things get tough, because this life is tough and things will be bumpy. So it's easy to be friendly when things are perfect, but that's been really helpful for me, kind of processing through that, thinking about, okay, you know what, maybe that's right. Maybe sometimes the right person, not the right time. That happens a lot. I think circumstance. I've gone through more breakups because of circumstance and timing than I have actually because of a relationship not working out. And the more I think about this too, this person is so different from my most recent ex. Like couldn't be more different, but like pretty different. And I think that's where I've been thinking, and obviously listening to podcasts on love and relationships and life, and thinking about like soulmates and this sort of stuff, that like I think relationships, you have a lot of people that you could make it work with. It just depends if you both are willing to put the work in, if you both want if you both have kind of the same vision for whatever you're going to be, and then also like what type of a lifestyle do you want? What type of a life period do you want? That I think you can be compatible with all sorts of people. Again, personal opinion. If you believe there's a one right, that's cool too. But just my perspective, I feel like I've been able to see how much I can have really strong relationships with women, and that I haven't been able to find really one common theme between the whole thing. Like everyone is there. Every relationship is its own adventure, but they just come with different things. It depends what you're willing to compromise to have it. And every partner is going to be different. Those compromises are going to be different for every partner. And so really dialing in, I think, on a few important things, and then the rest, I think, for me is now negotiable. Like realizing how there are a few things that I think if you can really nail these few things, then the rest kind of doesn't just fall in place. I mean, it's still going to take work, but that it's easier to work around the other things. Again, fighting. Like if you can fight well and like resolve conflicts well, like as a couple, like that's huge. So just something that I've been thinking about. It's been like a very emotional week for me, roller coaster type of a week. So that's one piece, is this realization. Shout out Lena for the tough love, realizing until I follow my dream, I don't think I'll fully be able to give myself to a partner, even though right now I'd like to. But I'll keep you posted, see where this goes. I haven't felt like a little real spark like this in a minute, and for a long time I'd wondered if I still could. And so if nothing else, it's nice to be able to know that I'm still capable of feeling. Who would have thought? And so there's that. And I think that's a cool thing, just to be like, okay, that's still there. It's just been maybe like kind of I've pushed that to the side, or maybe it's been sleeping for a little bit. This is chapters, right? Boom, 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 boom. I'm taking it all in chapters. So the next piece is we're going to come back to Florianopolis, right? We're kind of bouncing around a little bit. But fall in love, go to Florianopolis, make a couple friends, have this like little mini feelings of just like processing, moving, working through my own emotional, like, the mistake, blah, blah, blah type shit, and coming back to Florianopolis again. So here's the thing. This city, I'm in an apartment now, as you can tell. So this story obviously has a good ending. But I was not sold. So one thing about every time I get to a new city, I kind of have the same strategy. I'll rent an Airbnb or a hotel just for a couple days, go explore the city, catch a vibe, see kind of what it's like, see if there's a neighborhood that I like, gravitate towards, and then maybe try to find something there. Go knock on doors, shake some hands, try to work something out. This city has like a downtown, like it feels like a little city center. And then there's like where a lot of the gringos are, expats. It's called Lagoa de Conceição. And I'm working on that. That's my Portuguese I'm working on is sound. Is that sound? It's like very nasally, and it's so hard for me for some reason. Conceição. And so there's this little, we just call it Lagoa. And I'm including myself as if I'm a local here. We just call it Lagoa. I've been here 4 days. We just call it Lagoa. No big deal. And so that's where like all the expats are. But it's still, and then down even farther is this other place called Campeche, which is like even more kind of surfy, beachy, chilled. And after going on seeing Lagoa and Campeche, I was like, this is not a good fit for me. Like, as much as I love to believe I'm like a beachy guy and can chill out, like, I've still got that like city boy love in me in terms of just like, I like the hustle and bustle. I like being where there's action. I like to be able to like hail a taxi easily on an app and just ride somewhere and have electronic stores available. Just like, I like, oftentimes the beachy city, like the beachy town vibes are cool, but like it's such a pain in the ass infrastructure wise. I get frustrated. The New Yorker in me gets frustrated. Maybe that's my lesson. I need to chill out more, but so it goes. And so I'm like, okay, these are not really my vibe. And it's such typical fashion to go to like a beach city and then to not live by the beach. Like to go to where the beach is and then like go live in the city center. But I was like, I am what I am. This is the monster you've created. And so I end up trying to find a spot in Central, and it's all either way out of my price range or all the places I'm looking at don't do short-term rentals. I'm like knocking on doors. I'm talking to people over the little intercom things. I'm talking to security guards, to administrators. I go to some real estate agents. Nobody's willing to do short-term rentals. And so also in typical Kia fashion, the whole island is where everybody lives. And I'm like, what if I live off the island, like on the mainland? End up finding a neighborhood I really love, finding a spot I really love, and have everything, the contract. I work with the guy, negotiate a little bit in my broken Portuguese. It was like, cool. He's like, I'm gonna work up the contract tonight. Come through tomorrow. I'll give you the keys. We'll sign it. I got you. Morning comes around. Dude bails on me. Oh, something came up, blah, blah. He'd flaked on me the day before too. And I was like, damn. Good news was the day before I'd met a guy in this apartment that I have now. It's a little bit more expensive. I liked the apartment still. Didn't like it as much, but still liked it. And I was like, dude, is it still available? And it looked like a girl had just rented it. And I was like, fuck it, I'm out of here. I'm moving to Sao Paulo. But I was able to negotiate with him and lock it down for a couple months. So here we are in Brasil, couple months, working through my heart and just feeling into things more, trying to not overthink it and just feel into it. And a piece of that is, now that I'm here, same when I felt in Colombia too, is that here, I wrote down a list of things. I was like, I'm not sure if I jump into this now or do I do it later, but maybe I just do it now. I think there's a real beauty in listening to your body, and that like your body or your vibe, your energy, all that hippy dippy shit will like kind of talk to you. It just depends if you're going to listen or not. And I've been feeling some tingles and jingles when I was in Colombia. And I'm feeling it more now than ever. I think it's that fine line between nervous fear and excitement. It's like that like speedometer or odometer, like that little like kind of wavering back and forth. And I think I'm going to try it for a little bit and move to LA. It's been kind of percolating in my mind for a hot minute. And there's something about it that does scare the shit out of me because it's expensive. It's not like I have a bunch of money, or a ton of connects out there. And I've grown so comfortable with this nomad life, especially with how much money I make with the standard of life I'm able to have, that it'll be a complete change, complete 180. I'm like in this great 1-bedroom apartment with a view overlooking the city, nice neighborhood. Nomad life, you start to become adjusted to almost like what it means to like have made it in a way. And so I feel like I'm a little jaded, and this will be a completely different life. It'll be like crashing with friends and living out of my car and studio sessions and just trying to like kiss some babies and shake some hands and see where it goes. But I think that you have to trust the universe in that regard. Like you have to give the universe kind of chances to help you. And so the fact that it scares me so much is something that I think might be a good idea. And talking with some friends through this process, feeling like if it's one thing that I've really come to love doing, it's build community, build friendships, build relationships, introduce people, create connections. I've almost grown, even in a way, in as I grow older, it's more antisocial behavior in terms of really kind of locking myself away, being more focused. I feel like I almost become more social at the same time, or at least more. I become more energized by social things. I'm starting to understand the importance of social things as a social animal, and friendships and genuine connections. That the older I get, it's almost like the more I tip into extroverted rather than my more kind of natural introversion, I think. And so I want to see if I can work some of that magic out in LA, because right now I feel like I'm on the path. I've been doing my thing for a hot minute, 4 years now on the road, building my skills, my business, my brand, even though it's not like it's that big. Something I've started to really dive into lately, but it's something that I feel like the fear in my mind is bigger than in reality, and recognizing that and coming down to this like kind of miserly, it's not a fixed mindset type of stuff of being like, not having a thought of like abundance, but being like, oh, like holding on to my money and blah, 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 blah. When it's like, that's the most renewable resource we have. It's like, that's the one thing that I know that I can definitely make more of easier than probably every other resource. So why am I kind of clinging to it so desperately, so willing to part with it? And that the experience I had with ayahuasca really kicked my ass in a lot of ways. And one of them was making sure that my words line up with my actions. And I talk a big game I have for a long time about what my dreams are with music, pursuing music, with playing shows, like really being able to do projects with people that are my idols, people I look up to, and more collaborative stuff, and yet still haven't pulled the trigger on that. And with the ayahuasca piece, we're really coming to terms with the fact that if it's something I want, I can't have it all dialed in and figured out before taking the leap. Sometimes you just got to leap and then you figure it out. And it's interesting that now, having done this for 4 years on the road, I feel very confident in my ability to do that in foreign countries. I feel in travel and all this sort of things. I'm not sure why, but I feel very confident in my ability to figure it out there. But for a long time, I haven't felt that in regards to actually pursuing my dream and my career in cities that I know are kind of the places for these things to happen. I've talked about it a lot. I believed it. But there's a difference, I talk about this a lot, between believing in something, saying something, believing in something, and I think really having a sense of knowing, really feeling it in your body, in your soul, in your heart, rather than up here. Where up here, I've thought it, I've believed it, but I haven't embodied it really. I haven't ever felt like, wow, this is the time, something I need to do, something I can do, something I have the tools for to figure out. And it's weird. It's like I just woke up in the morning a couple weeks ago and just kind of knew. I was like, it's time. Excuse me. Same thing with the ayahuasca. I just woke up one day. I was like, it's time. And I'm scared to death because this is when the rubber really meets the road. And it's like, do I have what it takes to live a completely different lifestyle than the one that I'm accustomed to? The one that I've loved for years, for 4 years now. Have my routine, eating, cooking, having my place, like all these things that all these luxuries I'm able to have that I won't be able to have. A lot of sacrifices and compromises that I think I'll need to make in order to make that dream work. But I've also always thought that this was the plan B. I've always said, well, if it doesn't work out, at least I'll have lived a full life pursuing it abroad, always wanted to travel, etc. And now I've lived it a little bit more, have a little bit more experience, have seen some things, met a lot of folks, been in some of these other places where life is hard, genuinely hard, and realizing how fragile it is, even myself this last year, realizing that it's almost not even an option anymore. Like, that it's not. A lot of times I think people will say, try it, go all in. So that way, if you try it and in case it, and if it doesn't work, then at least you tried and it wasn't meant to be. Where I'm just not sure if I'm willing to, in my heart of hearts, I'm not sure if I'm willing to do that. Like, if I'm really honest with y'all, I'm not sure if I'm willing to fail in the regards of like to try and have it not work and then be like, well, I tried, and then to like do something else. Like, it's almost like I'm just built for it in a way that like to just try until it works. That like that plan B shit isn't even like an option anymore. It's almost just like, this is it. So why not? You know what I mean? And my buddy Dave, shout out Dave, helped me a lot. And other folks I've had this conversation with, you know who you are. When they'll pose a question to me like, what does it feel like? How would you feel if you didn't do it? And that question to me made everything so much more clear, because I'm kind of here hemming and hawing. I'm like, okay, I could keep doing Brazil, or I could pursue maybe something down here. Or I've always wanted to go to Buenos Aires. Spain is up there. I want to see Spain. But then to think about like, what does it feel like not to do it, was crystal clear. I was like, that's not a feeling I can live with. And even to bring it back to the love shit, when I was talking to y'all about shooting my shot with this person this last week, I even said that in the message to her. Like, a lot of times we'll let these kind of like, you feel a spark with somebody, if it's not the right time, whatever, you just kind of let it fade and it fizzles out and it is what it is. But I think for me now in my life, at this point in my life, where I'm just shooting shots straight up, that's why I've got a song, Taking Threes, baby. I'm just shooting shots. Is this idea of like, it's easier for me to process rejection. It's easier for me to deal with things not working out and butting my head against the wall and being frustrated and failing often than it is. That's a much easier thing for me to wrap my mind around and process emotionally than not having tried. The emotions that eat me up the most are feelings around regret, opportunities or shots, the should have, would have, could have shit that like I'm trying to get better about, in terms of like no losses, only lessons. But that's much harder for me, is like the what could have been thing, rather than we tried, it was a good like it's not going to work. Or shooting your shot with a girl and she's like, nope, And you say, okay, dude, at least I shot. Like, same with this, with career, of like, if I could go through, I do think I have the capabilities to make this happen the way I have been doing it, and just like really focus on the marketing, doing it on the internet. I don't think it's all location dependent, but I do think there is something to be said for giving the universe a chance to work in your favor in regards to location, and to be places where people that can help you with your career, or that are a part of your like kind of career bubble. I think it matters. Like, listen, Kid Leroy, right, blew up in Australia. It's not like he needed to be in LA. But when I think about what are my strengths, I think one of them, like I said, is building community, getting to know people, and having good conversations, and introducing people to other people, and just being in the mix. Every nomad community I go to, I try to be involved with y'all. Like, I like people. Like, even though I like spending my time alone, I genuinely enjoy people and that connection. And I think if I can give that a chance to work, it's magic. I think I might have a shot of the kind of cosmic, what's the word I'm looking for? The kind of cosmic, like, asymmetries of the universe or some shit like that. Like the serendipity, I guess, of just like, you bump into a stranger, they know somebody whose ex-girlfriend's cousin happens to work here, you go there, it doesn't work out, and then on your way home you bump into somebody and something happens. Like, that piece that I think I haven't ever truly given a fair shot. So that's where we're at. We're doing Florianopolis, 2 months-ish. Might spend some time in Sao Paulo at like the tail end of that. But I'm really doubling down on my music marketing. I've got a lot of pieces and projects I'm putting together for y'all for these next songs. I'm only going to release 7 tracks this year. And just going to go balls to the wall with them. Make them as good as I can. Make the rollouts, all the assets as good as I can. Market the shit out of them. So I apologize in advance because I'm going to be a pain in the ass. But hopefully you guys listen to them and like them. So for 2 months, I'm also going to be making a lot of music. Spending this time in Florianopolis by the beach. I'm kind of putting romantic things on hold for a little bit. Life, love, lust on hold for a little bit. Unless we'll see if anything develops with so-and-so. But I'm not going to be like in the mix like that with ladies too much out here. One, my Portuguese is terrible, so that's going to keep me from it. Although the girls out here are bad. These Brazilian girls are cute, but I'm just going to let that chill and be on my beach, healthy, sun on my chest type of energy like I was in Da Nang, and just kind of lock in for a bit, knock this out. Not worry too much about trying to build a huge like social circle here. Not worry too much about chasing girls or seeing if anything bubbles up there. And just gonna kind of plan for this next step. Dude, I've been looking at Airbnbs and stuff, and it's crazy how expensive LA rent is. I've been looking at stuff like maybe just like living in an RV with Wi-Fi. Like I'm just trying to get creative with it. I'm at a point where I'm willing to just like outside the box type shit and just let go of any preconceived notions of what I want or what I need in terms of like my typical kind of living, and just go for it and see where it takes me. And I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I feel like I've figured out, I've got enough of that kind of figure it the fuck outedness at this point that if it works, great. If I can't get anything popping and I run out of money, I can always get a $50 flight back to Mexico and rebuild from there and take it another step from there. So it's not like I have to commit to this thing forever. I think a lot of times our fear stems from these things that our mind makes up around it, of like preconceived notions of how long things need to take or whatever, and just give myself some flexibility, couple months, commit to it, and then let the universe work its magic. Gonna stop it there at 40 minutes. But before I do, I want to hit with y'all with a quick my quick take on Florianopolis and Brazil. First things first, what I love, the people here. The Brazilians, I should have known because y'all are neighbors with the Colombians, and Colombians have been like the sweetest people ever. I also fuck with Mexicans, y'all nice too. But I've also got a theory on the way like the different women, which will be an interesting pod for another time. But I've been invited to 3 family barbecues within a week. That's crazy. They're like, you get to know somebody like, yeah, my family's having a barbecue. Come check it out. So the people have been super sweet. Everybody hits you with like a tudo bem. It's like, all good. And you're like, all good. And it's cool. The people on the street are like, tudo bem, tudo. And it's rad. Like just having greetings and stuff. I went out, my landlord, the guy who's running the apartment with me out for like a celebratory dinner the other night. When I signed the lease and sent him the money and everything, we're like, let's go. I was like, I'll buy you a drink. Just show me a good spot for dinner. And there wasn't a couple. There were a group of people that like left the restaurant. It was like 4 people. I think it was 2 couples. And before leaving, they just like said goodbye to all of us. I was like, do y'all know? Like, do I know y'all? Like, you need anything? And it's just like super sweet. They're just like, bye. And just I was like, this is weird, man. But like, it's cool. They've been really, really sweet to me. I've been having a problem actually because when I'll go to these gyms, I'll want to like look around the gym and kind of like get a vibe. And it actually takes like an hour because the guys working at the gym and the ladies working at the gyms are so sweet. They want to show you everything and like talk to you about the different things and about English and Portuguese. And so I've been actually being like, dude, like I got to go. Like I got other stuff I got to do. But like they just want to chat, and it's just been really, really nice how I think this is also different here than it is like in Rio or Sao Paulo, but like the people here have been super sweet. That's one. Number 2, the food. Moment of silence for the food one time. They got these buffets, dude. If you've been seeing my Instagram, I've been just going OD on all the Instagram stories of these buffets, dude. They've got buffets where it's one price and you can eat as much as you want of like any cuisine. Like they'll have that with like the pizza shop, or they'll have that with like the sushi spot. It's like, wait, there's a flat fee and I can eat all the sushi I want. I was like, this is crazy. So it's been, and then also where you pay by the pound, pay per kilo, but it's like very typical that you pay per kilo. It's like a buffet, all these delicious foods, barbecues and stuff, pay per kilo. It's great. And then another cool thing here is they haven't, small things, right? But they don't charge you to use the bathroom. Very cool. In almost every other country I go to, you do. And the one qualm that I have with Brazil so far, my one issue with y'all are these fucking avocados, bro. Why are they so watery? These are the worst avocados. These are seriously the ones that I like the least. You work with what you got, right? Life's hard. Sometimes you just don't get the avocados you want. So it goes. Anyways, y'all, thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Appreciate y'all listening. Y'all cheaper than therapy. Shout out to you. One time. I'll be back again next week. Sorry if this place is a mess. It's my first full day here, but want to come to y'all, get this out, talk my shit. If you know people in LA, let me know. I'm going to be out there linking up in a couple months. If you know any RV, campers, or trailer parks that have cheap rent and good Wi-Fi, let me know. Here's to another week in the life. Thanks. I mean it. All right. Hasta pronto. Ciao.